Hey there, my name is Diana the Great. I am an award-winning master level cosplayer here in the greater Kansas City area. I previously also performed blogging, provided live cosplay crafting demonstrations, served as a panelist, a cosplay contest judge, and a cosplay guest at several of our local events and conventions here in Kansas City, Missouri. I could also be considered as a micro-influencer since I have a social media following of about 30,000 across my various platforms. Though I've been cosplaying in an official capacity for about 9 years now, and in an unofficial capacity for much longer, event guesting is a fairly new endeavor of mine and a high honor to achieve. Please be advised that I am only speaking from my perspective as a local cosplayer and costumer here in Kansas City, Missouri. I am not authorized, nor am I seeking to speak on behalf of any convention staff, entity, or their leadership. But I wanted to share some of my experiences as a cosplay guest and what I've learned, as well as some tips, some tricks, and best practices for approaching a guesting role in the hopes that it can help other cosplayers looking to get into something like this. So let's get started. First and foremost, to be a guest, it is necessary to get yourself out there in front of the eyes of others at some point in time. Social media is usually a great way to do this, but by no means do you need to have a massive following in order to get started. A lot of conventions go for quality, not necessarily the quantity of those numbers. One thing that I would recommend no matter what is to make a media kit. A media kit serves as sort of a cosplay resume. It can include, but it's not limited to, a listing of your current social media statistics, engagement levels, what you can offer in your role, and what you've accomplished. One of my cosplay heroes, Beverly of Down and Created Studios, she has a great post and a wonderful example of a media kit that you can view for inspiration. When it comes to getting yourself out there, it's not required, but sometimes having a logo can help make things a little bit more uniform across the board. For those who still carry business cards, it can really come in handy. Or if you want to do something a little bit more electronic and not necessarily have to carry a multitude of business cards, you can look into some of the QR generators and possibly an NFC tag. This is my NFC enabled card, meaning you can actually tap your cell phone on it, or and it'll bring up a page that links back to my social media. Or if you don't have NFC enabled, you can actually just scan the QR code and that will also link to my respective social media. A new trend that I've seen pop up over the past couple of years pertaining to your logo, sometimes it can be simple as your cosplay name and a particular handle or font. Sometimes it can be something a little bit more elaborate and hand-drawn for a true representation of your ideals and beliefs. Canva, C-A-N-V-A, is a great free software that can help with both a media kit as well as designing your basic business cards and your logo if you so desire. And printing can be pretty inexpensive with Office Depot, Office Max, Staples. I've heard that sometimes even Walgreens could possibly do business cards too, or UPS or some of the other pay-to-print shops. In the past, I have also commissioned artists to draw myself or renderings of myself to be a part of my logo, and I've had a lot of success with that when it comes to my blogging. I will link where I got my cards and my respective signage in the description, but whatever it is that you choose for your logo and for your branding, just make sure that it represents you. Sometimes being a cosplay guest will boil down to who you know. But what if you truly genuinely don't know anyone? That is okay. A great way to get started, and you will have to get started at some point, but a great way to get started meeting other cosplayers and networking is just to volunteer. There are usually a lot of different charity events, local organizations, festivals, churches, hospitals, companies, movie theaters, and more that need cosplayers. A lot of the time it's to help promote their event or their facility, mingle with guests, or to fulfill a particular partnership with a brand or another organization. There are also more altruistic endeavors such as spending time with children or children at heart, and bringing their heroes to life. I mean, think of how cool it is to see Spider-Man or Superman or Barbie or your favorite Disney princess at an event. That could be you. Don't be afraid to reach out to make a connection. And if you are afraid to reach out to make a connection, that is okay. Wait until that fear has subsided. I understand sometimes it's like, I am terribly afraid to talk to people. I want to talk to people about the cool things, but I don't know how to talk to people about the cool things. It's all right if you need some icebreakers or anything, hit me up. I am happy to be a support for you. I will say, at the time of the filming of this video, the SAG-AFTRA strike is approaching a conclusion, but please be sure to do your research before working with any movie theaters or a company to promote struck films. We are no scabs over here. Please don't. In addition, sometimes making connections is just a good old-fashioned making friends at the con. Do you see someone cosplaying from the same fandom as you? Like, go take a picture with them. It is okay, just be sure to ask. Do you see someone cosplaying the same cosplay as you? Fine, cool. Ask them how they did it. Compare notes. Tell them that you think that theirs is amazing as well. Does your convention have an actual official or unofficial fan-run space, like a Discord or a group? Is there a cosplay meetup for your respective fandom? Be sure to attend. Are you entering the cosplay contest? Get cozy in the green room. Even as a master level cosplayer to this very day, I am still forever learning from newer cosplayers, finding different tips, tricks, or just completely impressed with their work. Another great resource for networking is the Cosplay Marketing Group ran by Ginny D, which I'll link in the description. The community is comprised of other cosplayers as well as photographers seeking to build their business or expand their reach to their audience through smart marketing. It is a private space, but a great place to get additional information that I may have missed for the purpose of this video. Please be sure to read all of the rules and answer the questions in their entirety before joining. Understand also that group is a community. There's not necessarily rumors based upon things, but make sure that you're with things that are being said, even with this particular video. Make sure that you are doing your due diligence and researching. Again, I can't speak on behalf of anyone in any way, shape, or form, just from my personal experience, but vet and do your research, please and thank you. Making and forging those connections is integral. Even if you don't become a cosplay guest right away, you can always learn something new, expand your skill set, or honestly just make friends. Some of my absolute favorite cosplayers in the entire world became my friend because of those charity events, or because we posed together for a photo and followed one another on social media. We competed with one another in a contest, and we buddied up in the green room, or I just rolled up on them at the con and asked for their socials. And for nearly all of them, we are still friends to this day. I want to say this as humbly as I possibly can, and again, it is from my respective perspective. But in my experience with guesting, my contributions to the cosplay community were part of why I was chosen. Even when I was just a regular competitor, and I still am someone who chronicles every build, every seam, every face paint look, every strip lash applied, not just for my cosplay progress book for that competition, but also because I want all of us to succeed. My way isn't inherently the right way, but I always share with the intentions to educate and to show that it can be done. Sharing my cosplay journey is nothing new. We've all caught a late night live con crunching video, or a face paint tutorial, or a cosplay product review of mine. Even still, those community contributions were very helpful in reaffirming a convention's decision to bring me on board. I have amassed quite a few skills as a master level cosplayer, and there are still a ton more that I am seeking to learn. I speak positivity into every cosplayer that I encounter because I truly do believe in them and their talents. As I cite this next example, please, 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 do not take this as step by step of how it could or should be done. This is my experience only, so please, 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 do not take this example as the blueprint. This is just an instance. For Planet Comic-Con, for many years I attended, and once upon a time or two, competed in the cosplay contest. Attending the con, I was able to network, make a few connections, and this was not my goal at the time. I didn't set out to network for my own personal benefit. I literally was just happy to find out that there were other Black cosplayers who liked the same fandom as me, that there were other older cosplayers, as I didn't get into this until my early 30s. I was literally just happy to be there and happy to know that I was not alone as a plus size woman, as a nerd, as an older cosplayer. So like that's why I was going to Planet Comic Con. But as a part of regularly attending, I wound up being asked to serve as a panelist for the over 30 cosplay panel multiple times, as well as a face painting panel. And those connections still led to my name being brought up for doing a live demonstration for the convention, and that was on their respective social media page. And then I was granted to do a live demonstration of how I make my Sailor Moon tiaras actually at the convention as a respective anime maker. The following year, I was asked to be a maker again. That time, I showed how it is that I made my POC-inspired wigs. And then the subsequent year, I was asked to be an official cosplay guest. Again, this is not the all's well ends well bona fide certified way to get into cosplay guesting. I want to be clear about that. But still, being good to the cosplay community will never hurt. So what can you bring to the table? Like, literally, what do you have to offer? As mentioned, community contributions are a big deal, and a majority of your audience, your fans, your network, and your friends will fall into said community. But now is the time to flex, though. So seriously, what are your strengths? What are your talents? What does your skill set consist of? Are you great with wigs? Are you a foam master? An amazing seamster? Are you a mixed media specialist? Are you a glue gun gangster? Are you a current cosplay competitor or a former one? According to a member of the cosplay marketing group, they responded with, figure out what it is that you can offer the con that's unique. What services can you provide? Workshops, panels, educational content, judging, hosting. Many directors, organizers, and showrunners are needing the entertainment factor. What can this individual offer to draw people in that I don't already have? And you can be that factor. More than just entertainment, of course. By far, you are exceedingly valuable. You are unique. Your talents are impeccable. And you have the accolades to back it up. But once you have identified what you can bring to the table, then it's time to ask for a seat at the table. This can look wildly different depending upon your experience. I did a poll on my Instagram recently to see if there were any questions that people had about guesting, and Maybe Wavy had a great question. Is it rude to email conventions and ask about becoming a guest? Most of the time, no, it's not. Another member of the cosplay marketing group cited this as a response. Find the balance between confident and humble, and focus on being well-spoken and sincere. Another great example of contacting a convention and asking about guesting opportunities is Magical Black Girl Alia on Instagram. In 2021, LA Comic Con, they were announcing their respective cosplay guests, and apparently did not have any of color. After chatting with Alia and making sure that I was okay to share this piece of her story, she clarified my memory of what happened. She actually, in 2021, applied to be a guest of LA Comic Con, but never heard back. Simultaneously, she also noticed while other cosplayer guests were being announced that there were no cosplayers of color attending. So she opted to reach out to them to do her due diligence in following up. Simultaneously, she did make a video addressing the lack of representation. LA Comic Con responded to her inquiry by extending an invitation to her to serve as a guest that year. Approaching the convention date, Alia very politely asked them about it. She contacted them. They asked her. They extended an invitation for her to be there. So again, to summarize, it is okay to ask as long as you are genuinely sincere. You want to flex your respective talents and accolades, but you do not want to seek out the convention so you can flex, if that makes sense. Be there to be the best version of you, to show why you do have those accolades, those numbers, those talents, what it is that you can provide to the respective cosplay community, to the attendees of that respective con. But don't go purely for the intentions of, I am a guest at this con, I am better than you. Don't go in there with malicious intent, please. The most important part of being a cosplay guest is to take care of yourself. Mental, emotional, wellness, health, funds, food, your house. Take care of you. As cosplayers, we all know there is a high level of stress that comes with the hobby. From trying to find the absolute perfect fabric to con crunching, even though you knew about this months ago. Guilty. To forgetting to eat because you were hunched over your project like a gremlin. To not getting enough sleep because you were so focused on finishing said project like a gremlin that you didn't go to bed on time. We know the sleep is few and far between for cosplayers, but please get what you can. For one convention that I have served at, it is actually written in the con staff rules to get a full night's rest, perform basic hygiene, and ensure that you eat. I am so serious. Remember, it is okay to not be okay. And don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't forget your meds. And set a reminder for them in case you forget, or plug a friend. It's like, hey, remind me. I can't tell you how many times that even though I utilize my Google Assistant, I will still send a text message to my best friend to remind me to do a particular thing. I've already asked her to remind me to do things for my next upcoming convention, and that's in 2024. Also, drink plenty of water. Conventions are busy, and they often require you to be on your feet for the entire day. Keep a spare pair of flats or a change of shoes at your table. Bring a spare change of clothes as well. I, for a very long time, had it in my head that I had to go to the event in the cosplay and leave the event in the cosplay. I don't know why, but that's how it was in my mind, that I had to wear the costume there and leave the costume there. I was that respective character. It is okay to bring a change of clothes. Please. It is all right. So that way you can be comfortable, you can get out of the cosplay at the end of the day, or whenever it becomes too much for you. Unfortunately, money is a big part of cosplay and cosplay guesting. Supplies, fabric, sewing machine repairs, tools, marketing materials, sign up, makeup, lashes, props. Even the most inexpensive items still have a cost to them. There are definitely ways to do this affordably, but not entirely cost-free. I'm very lucky that the conventions that I have guested at have been local and I don't have to account for lodging. But I know that that's not always the case for everyone. I can't speak for anyone's finances but my own. And I would never shame anyone for going without, especially in today's economy, gas prices. But I will suggest strongly, make sure that your home is good and make sure that your basic needs are met before you're doing anything. In addition, if you're serving as a guest and it is a paid or a contracted appearance, make sure your contract is proper before signing. Protect you and your funds. Have your payment method or your terms outlined off rip. If there is a breakdown in communication, reach out. Do your due diligence. Please do your due diligence to follow up so that no one can say you did not do your part. Protect your brand and your integrity. In the past several years, I have had both a high-level sponsored brand and a smaller but fairly new convention completely ghost me after they both reached out to me based upon recommendations for a partnership or a guest opportunity. And as angry as I was that I was led to believe one thing and another happened, I did not react publicly. I did have the rights to do so, but that's not me. That is not my style. I do my absolute best to avoid anything that could potentially harm my brand. And I will never let anyone else's lack of character make me question my own. Another question that I received on Instagram was asking what kind of benefits do I get as a cosplay guest? And that actually varies with the respective event or convention itself. That's also something that could be established when you do reach out to the convention or the event coordinator or whatever it is that you're seeking to attend. Especially for a convention, that's where you can talk about room and board, travel costs, costs for your supplies if you're leading a workshop, or other nominal fees that would support your work. I would say that if you are guesting, bare minimum, your entry into the event should be comped, free passes for you and your handler or your support. In my opinion, a local or in my respective opinion, a local or a smaller convention or a smaller event, a beginner event in their very first or maybe second year, it might not inherently seek to offer any kind of amenities for gas or travel costs, whereas an out-of-state convention should bare minimum have that on board if they are bringing you to them. But again, find that balance between confident and humble, and advocate for yourself as needed. For me, the greatest benefit is to have the opportunity to connect with the cosplay community. Even if just one person wants to see me, I'm still there for them. As a disclaimer, it is my personal policy that I do not participate in any more cosplay contests here in the greater Kansas City metro, because I have been serving as an invited guest or a judge at respective conventions. I personally find it a conflict of interest and in poor taste to not only be asked to attend, but to also go for the prizes that said place is providing after inviting me. And there are some cons that might allow this, and there are some cons that share the same perspective as I do, but please conduct your research before going in. Overall, it's not easy being a cosplay guest. It is a lot of hard work. It would require your time, your energy, definitely some of your money. Guesting will call upon your strengths and your talents, what you can contribute to the community, if you haven't already, as well as making connections and putting yourself out there. It's taken me years. It has taken me years to get to this stage of my cosplay career. I was not, and I'm still not, owed anything. I am grateful for every opportunity, from library conventions to the biggest in the metro. They are all equally important, and I am so appreciative of all that I have experienced up until this point. Even though I have a general idea of what I'm doing, there is still so much more for me to learn. And by no means am I perfect. But again, my experience is not a monolith. What took me years could take you a few months. Things I struggled with might be an absolute breeze for you right out the gate. And I love that for you. And I want that for you. I want things to be easier for you. And if this video helps you get to where it is that you wish to be, then that's all I could ever ask.